Can the Terminator franchise be fixed? That's what a lot of fans will be asking right now. And I'm not talking about the movies that already exist. I'm talking about movies going forward, like the next 10, 20, 30 odd years of movies. Can the Terminator be salvaged? I mean, we have a movie called Terminator Salvation. Can we actually salvage the Terminator? Can it be done? Well, that's what I'm analysing today. I think we need to really look at where the franchise is and what could be a new Terminator movie. What could exist? Now, obviously, number 3 was the first one not directed by James Cameron. And you could see, like, it was still a relatively respectful movie, but it went a different route. Obviously, they didn't have Ed Wood for long because he was going through issues at the time. He had his own personal demons he was fighting. So we had a new John Connor in that one. But it was still a respectable movie for what they tried to do. And the ending of that movie was that you would see the war. You'd see the next movie, number 4, Salvation, would be about the resistance. And we did get that to an extent. We got this version of it. But I think there's a different way to go about it that isn't like, okay, Terminator Genisys where John Connor's the Terminator. Dark Fate where I don't know, for some reason the Terminators are all like, yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about Dark Fate. But I think there's a way to do this. I think you have a direct sequel directed by James Cameron to Terminator 2. Not Dark Fate, not in association with James Cameron, directed by James Cameron. And I think you have that movie, the third one, be, okay, it's set 50, 60, 70 odd years after John Connor, after Sarah Connor. All the original big players have all left, and we don't have Arnie there, we don't have nothing. It's 70, 80 odd years after the events of T2. And I think what you need to do is say, okay, people have forgotten about Terminators and forgotten about all this other stuff. And that's what Dark Fate tried to be, but you still had Sarah Connor in there and you still had the same template that they were trying to use because Arnie is the Terminator and, you know, you have all this other stuff. But I don't even think you do that. I think you have, okay, no Terminators. You have a Terminator movie without the Terminator. I mean, Ridley Scott tried to do an Aliens movie without an alien, you know, Prometheus. But, you know, you look at that movie now and it's like, yeah, okay, I kind of get what Ridley was trying to do. It was world building. I get what he was trying to do. But I think you world build. You go after all of that and you go, okay, they're creating an AI and then you watch the AI. It's like it's on your phone, it's all this other stuff. But then eventually the AI becomes self-aware and attacks humans. But you have it as a 3-part movie. Don't squeeze it all into one movie. Have it as a 3-parter. Film part 1 and part 2 back to back, so you have them 1 year after the other. And then have part 3 as the optional third trilogy. Like have that it's there that you're actively going to start producing after the other 2 are done. And then you have the first part play out as like number 3 did, essentially, like the start of that war, but not with a John Connor in there. You just have it as like, this is the steps that are going down the path. You have a lead person in there, but you don't have it be about John Connor. You have it be about how the systems become self-aware, how it became so controlling, how it became essentially the thing that could take over the world. Then the second movie, you have the war is in full effect, the resistance is in full effect. You can have a John Connor there now if you must, but don't call him John Connor, just call it like something else. Go a different route. Or you could have John Connor there, have him as like some like 80, 90-year-old person in there who is like this hardened veteran who's been to like through all these wars throughout the years and been to Afghanistan and been to all this other stuff. Have him as like some battled veteran of like, yeah, back when I was younger, we went through all these wars and now it's time to use all these skills. Like this could take place in like 2050 or something. You could have a John Connor there then. But don't make him the sole focus of the movie. Have like 10 John Connors. Have like, you know, have a John Connor. Have like all these other characters who you can play off and be like, they're all big parts of the resistance. And then show that whole mentality of like, okay, they attacked us on this day, but we are going to try to hit them there. And don't have time travel be a part of it. I mean, you need, have them building the time factory. Like you saw a bit of that in Genisys, I believe. But have it as like a way, a deep dive into how they discovered time travel. How did the robots, the Terminators, discover time travel? Like, that's an interesting part. Like, there's all these little factors that don't even hold it in America. Hold it in the Australia or hold it in the UK. Have a different perspective. But then the final one should be, the final part of the trilogy should be how the Resistance won, the day the Resistance won, and how the Terminators were wiped out, essentially. Have one timeline where the Terminators actually lose and the future is saved. That could be a trilogy. Or if you must squeeze it down into one movie, that wouldn't work. But I feel like that's the way to go. Up till now, they've been relying on Arnold Schwarzenegger, they've been relying on, Sarah Connor, they've been relying on John Connor, they've been relying on some level of what's been there already. And the only one that went against that was Salvation. And if you look at Salvation today, it kind of does hold up. Like, it's not great because, I mean, yeah, Sam Worthington, I don't believe it was his best role. I mean, you had Christian Bale in there. You can give Christian Bale some props. He did all right in that movie, but I mean, it wasn't the best movie overall. But imagine Terminator Salvation, directed by James Cameron. Now you got it spinning. Now it's like, okay, I feel like, even though I knock Cameron quite a lot for the Terminator 2 transfer, you got to give him credit. He knew what he was doing with his franchise. He knew what to do. He knew how to drive it. The same with Ridley. Like, if they had just let Ridley complete his original vision, I think he could have done something great with the other Aliens movies. Not the ones that they're making right now, but way back in the day. Like, what's the one where Ridley comes back and she's like the mother of the alien? I forget the name of it. It's Redemption or something? Alien Redemption or Resurrection or something? It's over here. Let me have a quick look. Let's get it right. Alien Resurrection. That's what I'm thinking of. I don't think Ridley directed number 3 either. But, you could have seen how Ridley wanted it to be. You could even give him aliens, but I would say James Cameron understood aliens. But imagine a second Alien movie directed by Ridley Scott. You could say that's Prometheus. You could say whatever. But I think having the original creator in the driver's seat directing, that's the way to go. And have it be about the war with Terminator. Have it be about something we haven't seen. How the war plays out. Have a 3-parter about how the war emerged and how humans ultimately won. That's how you save the Terminator. Give us something that's not John Connor and Sarah Connor and Terminators going through time to beat someone. Change the template. It's obvious, isn't it? To just say it like that, it's obvious. Will the audience watch it? I'm sure they would. Just don't make it as some like political speech or like... That's the problem with Hollywood at the moment. They use these movies as like a political speech of like, this is what's not right with society, and oh, if society was better, this would what the world would look like. Nobody wants to go to the movies to be lectured for 2 hours, and this is why you're seeing Hollywood in the shape it's in. There's a reason why Oppenheimer and Barbie were so good. Because when Barbie and Oppenheimer came out, the world was going through a phase of, okay, here is all this other stuff. And if you want to go watch Barbie, Barbie's great. Like, it's not lecturing you. I mean, it kind of is lecturing you. But Oppenheimer as well, like, people are bad for creating the atomic bomb. But this man, if he hadn't created it, the war might have went on and never ended. You have that whole dilemma and seeing Robert Oppenheimer, what he went through. You can have these sort of perspectives of like, okay, it gets you thinking, but it doesn't have to be a lecture. It doesn't have to be like, you're so bad if you do this, and this needs to be a... Yeah. Have a female protagonist in there. Like, Sarah Connor is a fantastic female protagonist. She is someone who is so good. But it's time for a new Terminator. It's time for a new change. Have the person, as the President of the United States, have that be a woman in the movie. I don't care, but just have something that works as part of the flow of the movie that's not so out of left field. That's just so like, oh, okay, they're doing this. Oh, okay. Have it like, oh, okay, I see this. Yeah, she's like a female Trump or like a female Biden or whatever, a Hillary Clinton, There's ways to do it in a smart way. But I think the Terminator can be saved. I think you can fix Terminator. I think it's not dead yet. But anyways, guys, jump down in the comment section, watch another video over here, and let me know what you think. Peace.